If you had asked me a week ago whether Caitlin Clark would ever play anywhere other than the WNBA, I would have said absolutely not. Despite the inconsistent officiating, the cheap shots, and the non-stop media drama, Caitlin has always seemed fiercely loyal. She turned down Unrivaled twice. She turned down the Big Three. And with 8-figure endorsement deals from Nike, Gatorade, and State Farm, she doesn't need to chase every paycheck tossed her way. But now, a massive new development could change everything. A Saudi-backed global basketball league, codenamed Project B, is coming, and they're going all in to lure top WNBA talent with staggering offers. And yes, that includes Caitlin Clark. The numbers being whispered around are already eye-popping, but I believe she'll be offered far more than anyone's reporting. The track record, the funding, and the motivation are all there. For the first time, Caitlin might face a true crossroads: keep being the hero the WNBA needs, but doesn't deserve, or finally get paid what she's truly worth. So, what exactly is Project B? It's a Saudi-financed global basketball league that's been quietly in development for 2 years, and it's the real deal. Founded by former Google and Facebook executive Grady Burnett and Skype co-founder Jeff Perinis, the league is backed by serious investors who actually understand elite sports. We're talking US Open champion Sloane Stephens, NFL Hall of Famer Steve Young, tennis icon Novak Djokovic, and former WNBA star Elena Beard, who now serves as chief basketball officer overseeing all basketball operations. Their plan? To pay players multiples above current women's sports contracts, reportedly 10 times current WNBA salaries. And for Caitlin Clark, those numbers could easily soar even higher. As wild as it sounds, this isn't unprecedented. Saudi-backed leagues have already rewritten the rules. Cristiano Ronaldo signed for $700 million, Neymar for $300 million, and LIV Golf.
And Saudi Arabia has gotten more and more involved in sports over the past decade. Probably the biggest league that they started was LIV Golf, which directly competed with the PGA and also stole some of the biggest PGA golfers because they were able to offer them insane contracts. Like the #1 LIV Golf player earned $300 million, Phil Mickelson earned $200 million, and the list goes on and on.
In terms of structure, Project B is set to feature 6 teams of 11 players each, competing in 7 tournaments held across Asia, Europe, and the Americas. Each tournament will last 2 weeks, fitting neatly into a 14-week window that aligns with the WNBA offseason, meaning, on paper, it wouldn't interfere with WNBA contracts or training camps. But let's be honest, while players could technically play in both leagues, doing so would leave them with virtually no downtime. Realistically, few athletes would grind year-round, risking burnout, especially when the WNBA pays a fraction of what Project B is expected to offer. And if Project B is dangling 7-figure contracts, it's entirely possible they'll make exclusivity a condition, meaning no double-dipping at all. Either way, it's easy to see why many WNBA players would leap at the opportunity. Under the league's current CBA negotiations, the proposed Supermax salary tops out at about $850,000, while the veteran minimum hovers around $300,000. Now imagine you're earning that $300,000.
A player like Sophie Cunningham, in all honesty, a player like Sophie Cunningham, who is a good contributor to a team, and we know has star power. She's got the looks, she's got the personality. The Saudis are liable to pay Sophie Cunningham $5 million in that league. There is no chance of her earning that from the Unrivaled or from the WNBA. And they're not going to agree. You can bet these WNBA players already know how much the Saudis are willing to pay.
I completely agree. It's going to be nearly impossible for players like Sophie Cunningham to walk away from that kind of money. And the intrigue doesn't stop there. Word is, Project B isn't just offering massive contracts, they're offering equity in the league itself. That means players wouldn't just be cashing paychecks, they'd be owning a piece of the empire they're helping build. That's something the WNBA has never even come.
Candace Parker's involved in this, folks. Candace Parker's involved in this. You don't think she's talking to Aaliyah Boston during the podcast? Hey, AB, I got this thing. I know you're getting paid this and Unrivaled, but we could pay you this over here. I'm sure she's having that conversation. I'm sure she's having that conversation with a lot of players in the WNBA. The question is, how much are they offering, and will they jump ship?
When LIV Golf launched, they had Greg Norman, a retired golf legend who knew exactly how to strike the PGA where it hurt. Project B has its own version of that weapon, Candace Parker. And make no mistake, that's just as dangerous. Candace isn't just a Hall of Famer, she's one of the most influential and respected voices in the history of women's basketball. Her presence instantly gives Project B credibility, power, and insider influence.
And I'll tell you this. I signed a deal with Amazon, to broadcast for Amazon. I got a text from Adam Silver saying congratulations. I had my third child. I got a text from Adam Silver about my third child. Now, whether this is Adam or his assistant, somebody from the league office is reaching out to me. I got a baby gift for my third child. I get a Christmas gift from Adam Silver every year. I retired. Adam Silver sent me a text message that basically congratulated me on my career and how much I've done for the women's game, and he looked forward to how much I'm going to do from the sideline. I have not heard from Kathy.
Candace Parker hasn't been quiet about how Caitlin Clark has been treated either. Her message is sharp and simple. The WNBA needs to prioritize business over egos, politics, and personal grudges. That mindset aligns perfectly with what Project B represents, a league focused on growth, professionalism, and paying women what they're worth. This isn't just about basketball, it's about transforming the global landscape of the women's game and finally rewarding the players who built it. And Candace isn't some passive investor sitting in the background, she's the face, the voice, and potentially the recruiter with direct access to the WNBA's biggest stars. Which brings us back to Caitlin Clark. There's zero doubt Project B will make her a massive offer. The only questions are how much, and will she take it? Many believe she won't. They say she's too loyal, too brand conscious, too invested in the WNBA's image to walk away. But that argument overlooks a few key realities, 5, to be exact. Number 1, Project B's format. This isn't some gimmicky 3-on-3 sideshow or celebrity league. It's real basketball, 5-on-5, 11-player rosters, professional coaching, and global arenas packed with fans. It's the game Caitlin Clark was born to play. And that matters, because we've seen what she's already turned down, the Olympics, Unrivaled, Ice Cube's Big 3. Why? Because she's not interested in watered-down formats. She wants to play full games against elite competition, and Project B delivers exactly that. It checks a box every other alternative league has missed. Number 2, the competition level. Caitlin Clark is a purist, a traditionalist who grew up idolizing the WNBA as the pinnacle of women's basketball. But that dominance only lasts until the money moves. When Project B starts throwing out 7- and 8-figure contracts, do we really believe stars like Paige Bueckers, Aya Wilson, or Kelsey Plum will say no? LIV Golf reshaped its sport by poaching just a handful of stars with outrageous offers. If Project B lands even 3 or 4 marquee names, the balance of power shifts instantly. The WNBA would no longer be the exclusive home of elite competition, and that's a game changer. Number 3, WNBA toxicity. Let's be honest, the WNBA hasn't exactly embraced Caitlin Clark. From dismissive media coverage to brutal officiating and the constant physical targeting on the court, she's been undermined instead of celebrated.
At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $60 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them.
What should have been a once-in-a-generation marketing gift has instead become what many fans now call the biggest blunder in modern sports. The WNBA had Caitlin Clark, a transcendent, culture-shifting superstar, and somehow managed to mishandle the moment. Now, compare that to Project B. If she signs there, Caitlin Clark wouldn't just be another player, she'd be royalty. We're talking first-class travel, creative control, global brand expansion, and a real seat at the table. The kind of respect, influence, and partnership she's never been granted in the WNBA. And maybe, for the first time in her career, she'd be playing in a healthy, empowering environment that actually values her for what she truly brings to the game. Which brings us to number 4, money. For a long time, Jon Rahm swore he'd never leave the PGA Tour. Then he took $300 million to join LIV Golf. Whether you agree with the move or not, that's life-changing money, and Caitlin Clark could be next. People are severely underestimating what she's about to be offered. Numbers like $50 million have been floated around, but frankly, that's a joke compared to her true worth. Here's the reality, she's been independently valued at over $1 billion to the WNBA when healthy. She's responsible for half of the league's total viewership. Half. Since she entered the league, team values have more than doubled, adding roughly $2 billion in equity. She's the driving force behind the WNBA's new $2 billion media rights deal. Every metric, every data point, every dollar leads back to her. So when people say $10 million, $20 million, even $50 million, I laugh. Because if you're talking about global impact, economic power, and cultural influence, that's low. Project B could easily justify offering $200 million or more, and it would still be a smart investment. The second Caitlin Clark signs, the league's valuation would skyrocket by over $1 billion. Sponsors would flood in, broadcast networks would fight for rights, and the entire sports world would be watching. That's what she brings: instant legitimacy, instant attention, instant money. Honestly, if
there was a time when Russia paid Diana Taurasi to only play in Russia. So she skipped an entire year in the WNBA because Russia was able to pay her a salary that basically kept her out of the WNBA. It kept Diana Taurasi out of the WNBA, and then when she came back, it didn't harm her legacy at all.
This is a crucial point. Diana Taurasi made her fortune playing in Russia, took a year off from the WNBA grind, and when she came back, her legacy was untouched, still the GOAT. If Caitlin Clark were to take, say, $200 million over 3 seasons with Project B, then return to the WNBA at 27, still in her prime, she could follow that same path. Her American legacy would remain fully intact. Sure, she might lose a few fans who can't stomach the idea of a Saudi-backed league, but let's be honest, most of her supporters would cheer her on for standing up for herself and showing the WNBA exactly what it means to be treated with real value and respect. Now, let's be clear, this isn't to say Caitlin is definitely leaving. We don't know what the final offer will be, and we don't yet know her true motivation. All signs still point to her wanting to win and build in the WNBA. But the reality is hard to ignore: the league is a mess right now. It's mishandled her, mistreated her fan base, and failed to capitalize on its biggest star in decades. Meanwhile, the leadership under Cathy Engelbert looks increasingly unstable. There's real speculation she might not even survive the next CBA cycle. If she's gone, maybe that finally sparks change. But if CBA negotiations fall apart, the 2026 season could be delayed, or worse, cancelled. And right there, waiting in the wings, is Project B, a Saudi-backed league with limitless money and a global mission to make women's basketball an international powerhouse. And when that kind of money enters the picture, we all know what happens: players go where they're valued. Unrivaled would crumble. The WNBA couldn't compete financially or structurally. And Project